One of the American cities with which Birmingham has most in common is Detroit, Michigan. Detroit's economy was built on manufacturing and, in particular, the motor industry. But just like Birmingham and the West Midlands, Detroit and the wider state have faced stiff competition from parts of the world where labour is cheaper. Lou Glazer is president of Michigan Future, which aims to facilitate Michigan's transition to a knowledge-based economy. He's carried out extensive research on the subject. Birmingham Made Me organiser Beverly Nielsen spoke to Lou via video link. She started by asking him how his region is trying to reinvent itself.
For most of the 20th century, we were one of the more prosperous places in the country, if not on the planet, because we had created sort of America's mass middle class in the 20th century, which was largely based on sort of high-paid factory work. Going all the way back to Henry Ford, and we had a 100-year run. The problem is because of globalization and technology, that economy is over. That's no longer the path to a broad middle class. So we've been really working on, for the last 20 years, trying to research, at least in America, what are the places that have a broad middle class that are the most prosperous in America, and what are their core common characteristics? And what we ended up finding, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. We have a few places in America that are prosperous because they are places that are producing energy, largely oil and natural gas. And with high energy prices, they're doing well. But except for those few places, and Michigan can't be one of those places, all the other places in America that are prosperous and that are growing the quickest have at their core two common characteristics. One, their jobs and wages are over-concentrated in the knowledge portions of the economy. And secondly, which goes hand in glove with that, is they have the highest proportion of adults with a 4-year degree or more. So we've basically come to the conclusion that the places with the greatest concentration of talent are the places that are doing best today and are going to be the places doing the best going forward.
And you talk about the importance of this talent with the 4-year degrees. Is it any particular sort of subject, skills areas that are really driving economic growth in terms of this type of talent, this mobile talent?
We've actually found that that it's not occupation specific or degree specific. So the knowledge economy, which I think a lot of people think of as high tech or places that are commercializing new technologies, it turns out to be way too narrow of definitions. So at least here in America, sort of the sectors that make up the knowledge economy are healthcare, education, finance and insurance, professional and business services, and then what we in America now have called the information section, which is sort of old media, new media, software, and telecommunications. So it's that broad sector or set of sectors that are what's now driving the American economy that actually account for all the job growth in America over the last decade.
Well, you talked about growing and keeping that talent. What are some of the features that this very mobile talent are looking for in terms of the sorts of places they're settling?
One of the things that we've learned in doing this work is that what matters to an economy is not where you go to school, it's where you choose to live and work after you go to school. After college, you basically can go any place on the planet, and increasingly, at least in America, young talent is moving. So at least here, the pattern is that young talent, which is the most mobile group, before they have kids, are increasingly settling in vibrant, big central cities, particularly in neighborhoods that are high density, mixed use, walkable, where you don't need to own a car, with high amenities, sort of high 24/7 activities. Those are the places that have become the talent magnets in America.
So you've talked about the importance about mobile talent in terms of creating and driving economic growth. You've talked about the kind of places that this mobile talent is tending to settle in your experience over in the US. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of higher education in terms of this source of knowledge and in driving economic growth and in terms of creating this talent of the future? What are the lessons we can learn in Birmingham about that?
The premium for a four-year, and now particularly an advanced college degree, is growing. So when you look at education at sort of each step up on the ladder, not only are you far more likely to have a job, to be employed, and employed not just in any given year, but over a career, but the wage premium is going up and up. So the estimates here in America is folks with a four-year degree over a lifetime earn $1 million more than those with a high school degree. And those with a master's degree or higher, an advanced degree, are earning like over a career $2 million more. Since the end of 2007 up until today, the only group in America that is more employed today than they were at the start of the recession are those with a four-year degree or more. Those with a technical degree, basically employment is the same as it was in 2007. And for those with less than a high school degree, it's sort of like the job change has been minus 10%. So all the job growth in America is happening amongst those with four-year degrees or more over the last several years.
Can you just say a few words about what types of skill sets it is that these employers are looking for?
We have world-class universities, and those universities, some of them are research universities like the University of Michigan, which are creating new knowledge and are helping create new industries. But all of them, I think, are doing a good job of understanding and building in their graduates the set of skills that employers are looking for. It's interesting, increasingly employers are looking for sort of a broad sense, a broad set of what I describe as sort of non-cognitive skills. So you have to have good teamwork skills, you have to have good communication skills, you have to be able to be creative, but also on top of that, because technology continues to change what companies need from their workers, is this ability to constantly learn new skills and adapt to a world in which machines are getting smarter and smarter.
You talked a little bit about primary and secondary educators,
right,
and some of the challenges that you're facing in your local economy around those. What do you see as the lessons perhaps for other economies in terms of those challenges?
I think our primary and secondary education, particularly in our central cities, but I think it's broader than just the central cities, are where we're having quality problems in our education system. It is both. It's both that they don't understand the importance and are not building these broad set of non-cognitive skills. They're also struggling with building sort of the academic skills that you need to be able to get into a four-year university and ultimately to get a degree. So that, I mean, at least in America, that's where our real education challenge is at the primary and secondary level, not at the university level. We need educators who understand what the world is going to be like for today's kids, and that it's going to be different than the world that they as adults lived in. And I think the best way for them to learn that is from connections with employers. But then for communities, there also needs to be this understanding that because you went to school in your community doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to choose to live and work there after school. So you're going to have a strategy that around retaining and attracting talent, and at least in America, that increasingly is quality of place based.
That was Lou Glazer talking to Beverly Nielsen via video link, and it's hoped that Birmingham Made Me and Michigan Future will be able to offer each other advice and support on an ongoing basis in the future.